without further ado, if Horst would like to come on, and let's welcome Horst to the call. We've got a lot of people on the call. I thought it was because of the great job I was doing, Horst. I think you've actually pulled a lot more people than I can on a weekly basis. How are you?
Hello, how are you? I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm sitting here at the dentist. I had some treatments today in a special office, a private dentist office. Never been to a private dentist office. Here in the call, I am in Brazil, and I think it makes sense to switch off my camera. Otherwise, it would be possible that I drop out because of the bad internet connection. So, as everybody knows how I look like, I hope you can live without my live streaming picture here. That's why I'm switching it off now. This picture is even better than my live picture. So that's where we are.
Okay, no, you look great, Horst. And for those people, we did a test run of this earlier, and it just works a lot better without the camera off or camera on. So that's why that's off, and it's a great picture you got up there, Horst. But let's have a lot's been going on. Obviously, we had a fantastic year last year. We did an interview back end of last year. Fantastic feedback on that. But we've come into the new year. There's been a lot of changes. Obviously, the withdrawal of USI from the USA and Canada was one of the biggest things that's happened early this year. Can you just tell us what were the events that led up to that happening and made you decide to actually come out of the States and Canada? If you can just elaborate a little bit on that so people understand what predicament the company was put into.
There are two reasons why we finally came to this decision. The first thing I have to tell you is, I don't know, but since we are in the business, we always told people, I always told people that I'm happy to fight for USA for many reasons. But I also told, whenever I had a chance to speak to the audience or to our partners live on live events, I always told them, please be aware, if you don't market and communicate our business right, especially in USA, with all the difficulties, not only with us as USI Tech, but also many other companies, we're gonna have some difficulties. And then finally, difficulties appeared, and our lawyers, Jonathan is one of them, who was in charge with all this. He had to communicate all these upcoming issues with Texas, Canada, and what else. And that was ongoing, and we have sent out many warnings where we told people again and again, please don't behave with this marketing communication. Don't come up with this hype of our business or whatever, overselling of our business by showing your back offices, your incomes, your Ferraris, your Lamborghinis, your millions of incomes. We do have the best market plan, and we do have high incomers in our business, and that's great. But this overhype in USA especially made many whatever offices or law departments a bit nervous, and Jonathan, our lawyer, was dealing with that, and that was one case. And I come back to Jonathan and our where we are with all this. So the other thing was, we realized in December there was a out of a system error in our system, a huge abuse in our system from partners, or a lot of partners. And finally, that was the reason why we decided to switch off USA and Canada in order to stop the wrong communication in the market, one thing, and stop the abuse as well. So that was the reason why I finally decided to switch USA and Canada off.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of abuse, and we'll touch on that in a second when we go through a couple more other questions. But what I wanted to sort of labour the point on, this was the advice of your legal representatives to come out of the States at that time while you assessed, the potential commercial risk to your business. And the statement was made for everybody to see, so it was no secret. And if you have corporate lawyers, then you have to take their advice. You know, I've had corporate lawyers in the past through mergers, acquisitions, and you have to take their advice. That's what you're paying them for, essentially. So one of the nonsense and the rumour mills then start spreading that our legal advisor hadn't engaged with the authorities in the States. You know, can you just confirm that, you know, obviously we did engage with the authorities out there. And off the back of that, I think you've got some good news coming, because what was the outcome of it? I know we've seen a first, I think you got a first draft about half an hour ago or so. But this has been something you've been working on furiously in the background. I mean, people sort of say, well, where's Horst, where's Ralph, and all the rest of it. You know, there's an awful lot of work and toing and froing. You can't actually come out with anything until you've got that document in your hand, which I believe you've got today, not fully digested yet, but essentially, can you just confirm that we did engage and what the outcome was of those lawyers?
We were always engaged from the very beginning with lawyers, not only in USA. We are consistently engaged with our lawyers worldwide. We had a special group of lawyers in USA always. Finally, it was Jonathan Herbie who was involved in all the latest upcoming issues. And finally, he was the one who strongly recommended to switch off USA and Canada out of the latest results on his end. So not, and that's a clear statement, and that's important, not because we did some illegal or wrong things in USA or in Canada, but because our partners marketed and communicated it in a wrong way. And all these legal apartments or financial apartments in USA, they strongly recommended that we need to communicate marketing and sales in a different way over our partner. Otherwise, that's the most important statement. USI Tech in USA and Canada never did anything in terms of illegal things in USA. All the departments, they confirmed once you market the product and you communicate it in the right way, there is nothing within your company, your product, your activities, we would see anything illegal. So this is something this is the reason why we finally switched the system in USA and Canada off, but also we are working since then on a legal statement, and we are almost there where we believe we can switch USI Tech and USA and Canada on again.
Wow. So we're nearly at the point that we can actually switch America and Canada back on. Is that what you're, that's what you're saying, Horst? That's
right. I got the latest draft of our attorney and legal statement, which we're going to make officially, which points out more than clear that we never had an issue, we as a company, in terms of legal, unlegal activities. But we have to discipline the marketing and sales activities. That's also a part we need to fulfill by coming out with a clear marketing and sales communication. The problem was we were involved in so many things in parallel, you know, a huge growth worldwide, a new product, the coin that we announced, our ecosystem that we developed. We changed our software supplier with all the issues we had with the new software supplier. That all based on an unbelievable growth. And that was the reason finally why we haven't had a chance to create finally in a short term all that it needs, especially for USA and Canada, to discipline our, if I can use that word, our marketing and sales activity with our partners.
I mean, and that's sensational news. I mean, that's you know, great news, and I think we're. You know, I still keep in touch. We do these calls. We've got a big team in the States and Canada, and in the main, they've been fantastic, really. Obviously, there's been a bit of stress that they've been put through and what have you, but they've kept the faith. You know, it's your responsibility to keep this company safe. You have to take, just to reiterate, you have to take lawyers' opinions, and if the lawyer's opinion needs to come out while you address the commercial risk, for the safety of the rest of the business, then you've done absolutely the right thing. And the fact that we can actually go back into Canada and America is fantastic news. I mean, my phone's going red hot now already, Horst, with that announcement. And with, you know, the obvious questions now are going to be, you know, what is the approximate time frame? You probably can't answer these, but I'm going to ask anyway. Have you thought about time frames in launching back into the States?
The way we're going to switch USA and Canada back on again will be, first of all, we have to take care, as I always told everybody who was in front of me or I was involved in discussions, our first priorities are our customers, as they are participating on our business with our brilliant product, BTC packages, and we're going to switch this on first of all. So we're going to continue to let people withdraw their return of BTC packages, which is their money they have invested into our company. But out of the fact that we have closed USA and Canada until today, we're going to do that in a controlled form, because I'm a bit afraid that that's going to be, once we switch it on again, it's going to be like a bank robbery. You know, everybody think he has to take out or pull out as much as possible because maybe it's just for a short time frame or whatever. So it has to be in a controlled way in order to make sure that we protect the company. But of course, it was never the intention to steal someone's money or to take someone's money away. We have still ongoing investigations, and these investigations have to be finalized in order to filter out, and I mentioned this already, a lot of abuses in our system with fake accounts, double accounts, and not so regularly takeouts in terms of withdrawals and money. So that's these are the priorities, and that's all controlled and with our lawyer involved. So every process is we will come up with now. All our lawyers are involved and they control it, and they give us the suggestions how to proceed.
Yeah, I think you know, we talked about abusive accounts and what have you. It's a major issue, and it's yeah, I think it's stunned not only the corporate team, but many of us that are involved at the level of abuse. I mean, the platform that these guys have provided for us and what it produces should be good enough. You know, it's very disappointing what has happened. You know, but steps were taken to ensure that the company reacted to it, to make sure that the company looked into it, gave themselves time to do this audit, which is an ongoing audit. It's not just America and Canada. It's probably a global thing, I would think, and that's going to take the company some time to do that. But you know, we're looking at making sure the marketing material and the sales funnels and all that sort of stuff, if it mentions USI, it needs to be taken down, guys, for the safety of the business. And you know, this is going to be policed a lot heavier with USI, I can tell you. And if you are marketing it incorrectly, you're at risk of losing your account. That is correct, isn't it, Horst?
Yeah, the point is, I really don't understand why a total of in the past a total of 2.5 Bitcoin was for some of our partners not enough in terms of withdrawals. So when we talk about abuse, it was from case to case. It was a really creative way where people abused possibilities, especially from our merge old system to the new system, where we had temporarily some issues. They were abusing it, sorry for that word, but they were abusing it in an unbelievable way. And the point is, if you remember, and I believe you remember the very beginning with our BTC package, 2.5 Bitcoins, what was it, 2,500 euros, something like that, 2,500 euros as a maximum of withdrawal per day. At the end of last year, 2.5 Bitcoin per day, that was almost 45,000 euros at some time, or let's say from 30,000 to whatever, to 40,000 per day. And still, it was not enough for a lot of partners, and they were searching for very creative ways by opening whatever fake accounts, an unbelievable amount of rebuy for partners, again with a very creative way sometimes, or in some cases. And what happened is, out of the system error, if you remember, I was always talking on stage and live and whatever. The most important part are our reserves. So reserves means we always need to have enough in our reserves in order to be able to pay BDC packages, return of BDC packages back. So out of this abuse, we, especially in USA, not only in USA, but especially in USA, we damaged our reserves. Why? Because at the beginning of our business, it was trading only. We came from the Forex trading, as you remember. We then switched on the cryptocurrency trading, and then we blocked in mining, and mining was our main focus in terms of long-term investments within the last months. And that's exactly the problem, that we are now on long-term investments, and we have damaged a bit our reserves at the moment.
Okay, I mean, that's an interesting point. I mean, you know, the company moved into more long-term investments. There's been a hell of a lot of investment made in the mining side of things, and we're going to touch on the Ethereum pool in a second as well, because I know people want to hear about that. But the main thing here is we need to fulfill those contracts that are in place, and they're big contracts. I mean, I don't know if you can discuss in a second just how big those contracts are, and you know, fulfilling those contracts will further, you know, give further stability to the business, and it is the longer term play, and that's where all of us need to be, in the sense that we, you know, need to get to the long term play. And because of the abuses that's happened, what I'm hearing is we need to just readjust for a period of time, get to those long-term contracts, and fulfill those to give further stability to the company. Just how big are those contracts? What does that make us once we fulfill those contracts in terms of, you know, size of player in this market?
Our first engagement with mining at all was the Ethereum mining, as you all know. And let me explain shortly why Ethereum mining is not transparent at the moment, because I asked our supplier a week ago to change the wallet for the income of the Ethereum mining. And there was no warning from our supplier that if we are going to change the wallet, and I changed the wallet for security reasons, because the old wallet was not secure enough for whatever reasons. Takes too long to explain that. So I asked our supplier to change the wallet. He changed the wallet, and finally the transparency was gone. I said, so where is our transparency now? He said, you asked us to change the wallet. Once you change the wallet, the transparency is not connected to the wallet anymore, and you can't see it anymore. So nothing has changed in the Ethereum mining. We still mine and earn exactly the same as every day before on a daily basis. The only thing that has changed, supplier did not inform us, once we changed the income wallet, our transparency is gone. Now we have to reassign it to the new wallet. Once this is done, to our new income wallet, Ethereum wallet, the transparency is the same like before. Let's talk about our first engagement with Bitcoin mining. Our first engagement with Bitcoin mining was a lease business. It was not we buy hardware, we have a mining farm, and we are transparent at all. It was a lease business. That was the only way at the beginning to be able to get in touch with, in such a short time frame, within weeks, with such an amount of, at the beginning, 120 petahash. I don't know if that says something to the audience, but 120 petahash is relatively huge for a one-time order. And that was a lease business. And a lease business, it was clear, we tried to make that as transparent as possible. Out of the lease, we're gonna show the transparency, but it was a lease business. Everything after this first 120 petahash that I announced in Mallorca, if you remember, wrongly, out of my misunderstanding. But the contract was there, the mining is there, the income is there, that's all true. My guess, that's from supplier A, B, or C, or whatever I mentioned there, that was wrong. Forgive me about my technical misunderstanding. But from there on a consistent basis, we focused on long-term investments instead of trading, within Bitcoin mining only. And the ongoing contracts which we have to fulfill until so far May and June 2018 puts us in the top 10, I would say maybe in the top 6 miner position worldwide. So that's the amount of mining we have invested, to give you an idea where we are. And that is not a bit mining, that is, we're gonna be at least under the top 10 worldwide biggest mining companies in the world. That's where we are in terms of mining.
And that's exactly why we need to fulfill these contracts. So we need to take steps to make sure we do fulfill it, having, you know, rectify the abuse side of it. And what I would say to any affiliate out there, if you feel that you have abused the system, if you feel that you have duplicate accounts, then, you know, do the right thing. You know, right into compliance, delete those accounts. You know, you're not helping the business, you're not helping yourselves, you're not helping your co-affiliates either. And, you know, let's get this bit tidied up as quickly as possible, because the quicker you tidy it up, the quicker we can get back to normal business. But, you know, the other point that I wanted to make, and, you know, Horst touched on the Ethereum pool. There's a post that's been going around today. Someone far smarter than myself, he's actually tracked the wallet addresses back and confirms ahead of the call with Horst tonight that USI are mining Ethereum, and that pool is very much there and up and running. So let's give the guys a bit of credit, you know, in terms of what they're doing, and let's give them a bit of support, okay? Okay, so Horst, with everything in mind, you know, you're talking about the abuse and all that sort of stuff, what we need to do going forward. Just before we talk about what we need to go to be doing to go forward, just a couple of other questions in regards to the US, because I'm going to get probably bombarded, and you probably can't answer these because you've only just got that legal opinion. I accept that. So if you can't, then don't. But will they be able to keep their tokens that they've purchased? Is that okay? Is one question that's come up. You know, will they receive the, well, we've answered that. I think it's just really the token question, actually, Horst. Do you know the answer to that yet without reading that and going through that document and speaking to the lawyers on the token sales? Are they able to keep the tokens they've purchased?
I'm absolutely convinced that once we come up with our ecosystem and our own coin, and I can see it on a daily basis, I mean, the progress of our development, and I can tell you that's going to be absolutely outstanding. The first videos in English, and we will translate in other languages to explain our ecosystem based on a video, is also done. That will go out within the next days. Our white paper is out. It's available in German and other languages soon. Today I received the German version. I can tell you that's going to be great. That's just going to be great. Our own exchanger, based on our own coin, some additional things like integration of credit cards and all these things. This is on a very good way. And now we start to do technical webinars where we introduce it, and we make the videos and so on and so on. The token sales is ongoing. It's as we expected it. It is perfectly distributed so far, and all the tokens which are out in the market are safe. Everybody who owns tokens will own Tech coins once we launch the coin. This is clear. This is, I mean, that is as it is, and that's always as it's going to be. The other thing is when we talk about abuse, you know that we switched off the rebuy for partner. It was for two reasons. First of all, our lawyer strongly recommended that we switch it off because we, as a company, we cover a business that's outside of USI Tech. What does that mean? If you buy packages for a partner and the partner gives you the value for the purchase of the packages, either he gives you cash or whatever, that's a business USI Tech covers, and it's ongoing outside in terms of money collection or value collection or whatever. So most of the time it was not for free. I cannot believe that dozens and hundreds of Bitcoins distributed to partners were for free. So people, they sold BTC packages based on rebuy for partners, and they collected money outside. That's against the law, and it was strongly recommended by our lawyers to switch that off immediately. But the second reason why we switched it off was that with the possibility unlimited rebuys out of a system error in our system during the migration into our new software, the abuse was unbelievable high in terms of creative rebuy for partners in a dimension you can't believe. And I don't want to mention it here, but I can tell you honestly, this short time frame where it was possible to rebuy with this dimension, it literally destroyed within a short time frame our most important asset, and that is our reserve, which we have to rebuild again. That's why we switched off the rebuy. Now we have another problem in our system, and this is the commission out of the rebuys. So as customers are rebuying on a daily basis, we realized that we have a lot of accounts in the upline which are feeded, so to say, out of the commission of the rebuy. So, and that is the point. We are going to switch off the rebuy commission for a while until we have discovered all these abuses, cleaned the system, and regained what we have lost in terms of abuse of our system. And that's all with our lawyers involved. So I can tell you honestly, I'm happy with every loyal partner out there. I'm happy to see high earners. That was always the intention. But I'm really a bit, let's put it this way, a bit upset about the fact that with that high amount of possible income in our system, it was not enough for many people out there, and they were trying like crazy to pull out Bitcoins as much as possible with any kind of, let's say, system possibilities we had, especially because we migrated our system and we had some system errors. So that's the point. That's where we are.
I think Horst, it's terribly honest of you, and I think people will appreciate that. I mean, from our point of view, we've always sold this wonderful BTC product on the basis it's good enough without anybody into it anyway. You know, the product, and I remember when we did some of the first road shows back in March in the UK, you know, it's a standalone product. There's nothing quite like it on the market, and it delivers, okay? So the fact that commissions on partner rebuys has to be suspended while you complete this audit and ensure we get to the end game, which is obviously to fulfill those mining contracts. Because just think about it, guys, you know, by fulfilling those contracts, you know, making us a top 5, 6, 7, 8 player in the world gives us long-term security for all of our businesses. So I don't think that's an issue. I mean, I know there's going to be commission on new people coming on coming in. That's fine. But turning off commission rebuys for a period of time to ensure that you know, we reach and fulfill those contracts, I think is obviously managing the company how we need to manage it to get to that end game. I think the other thing also is that allows us to go back to a daily withdrawal basis on the return on capital on the BTC packages. Can you talk a little bit about that, Horst, please?
Yeah, the return of the customer comes first. That was always what I was telling everybody who was talking with me. So we had a little delay out of 2 reasons. First of all, I mentioned this already. I have to take care that we build and keep the reserves. But secondly, we also had to switch from our wallet supplier into our own payment system, where we are doing the complete handling now for all withdrawals and all incomes by ourselves. And there was security first. It takes a lot of resources in order to make sure that we are not going to get hacked, that we are sure that the payments are, income and outcomes are working perfectly. And that causes a delay at the moment as well. But that's not the main issue. The main issue is we need to get rid of these abuses, and we need to get back to what we have to build. And we need to make sure, as customer comes first, that we, in first priority, always pay the return of the BTC packages. That's what we're going to do on a daily basis again from this week on. And the second priority is to take care that we pay the commissions as well in time. And that's exactly what I believe we are back into the normal modus within the next couple of days.
That's absolutely great, and again, thank you for your complete transparency and honesty on that. Like I say, everybody that is on the call, watching the call, we're going to be watching the call over the next few days. I think it's great that we've got a grip on it. I mean, it's fantastic news that we're coming back into America and Canada. I've got some great friends there. So it's like I said, the phone's going absolutely mad over on the right hand side here. Everybody's excited about that. You know, the UK events, as I said, they've been phenomenal this first week back, and we're going to have the same week coming forward. We've got lots of events coming up. I think we're looking to perhaps do a weekly, not myself necessarily, but other top leaders within USI, perhaps doing a corporate webinar, you know, with yourselves once a week, once a fortnight, just to keep everybody informed as to what's going on. I think it's been difficult because you've been waiting for that legal advice. You know, people are saying, you know, when can we hear this? When can we hear that? You know, until you've got that statement and you've got that clarity, and you've started tidying up, you can't actually come out and say anything, guys, because we don't want to miss anything.
The point is, John, we have a great business, and it will even be greater and more fantastic once we have launched our coin, and that's we are close to that. And my message to all the partners out there is, try to keep that business safe. It's unique in the market. It's up to your behavior. I think there is no other possibility out there where you can, where you have the possibility to earn, even if on your own input, so your own purchases, but also by recommend the business with partners. Keep that business clean. As more you try to abuse it, as more you risk it. And we have a lot of black sheeps out there, so to say, but I can tell you, most of the people out there, they are honest, they are happy with it. I get, on a daily basis, I get hundreds of letters of how we change lives out there. We are working on our ecosystem, because I like to change a bit the whole market with that as a unique system. Try to keep the business clean. It's good enough. It does not need any abuse. It does not need to feed 5 uplines and the goldfish and the hamster and whatever in order to pull out as much as possible from the system. If you like to help, if you want to help your family, and if you want to help your friends, just earn on yourself, and with the, let's say with the clean on the clean way, and then help with your earnings. We have partners, they have earned millions. Why do they need to pull out more than the regularly daily income they can earn? That's something I don't understand. So keep the business clean, and we can keep it up for years, many years in the future, especially what will come up. But I also have to tell you, everybody from now on who abuses the system, I'm going to follow it with all the legal possibilities we have, and I will send out everything it needs to punish them in terms of legal possibilities. I do not accept any longer people out there who are trying to destroy our wonderful business. It's not acceptable at all.
No, and it's not acceptable at all. And it's something that I think it's only right and proper that you take a hardline approach on. Okay, just before I let you go, one more question. You know, the legal opinion's out. When can we expect you to put a statement, presumably in the back office, on that legal opinion for people to see? Is that something you're going to be working on over the next 24, 48 hours so we can see ourselves?
Sure. Within the next 1 or 2 days, 24, 48 hours, definitely. Once we both confirm, our lawyer and us, the content of his statement, we're going to officially promote that. And at the same time, we're going to switch on at least the package repay, the withdrawals for the packages, and switch on USA and Canada again. And again, my message to all the USA and Canada, I know you have a hard time, or you have had a hard time, you still have a hard time, but it was never the idea to take anybody's money out of the purchases into our products away. It was for security reason and for safety reasons, and we will switch it on, as I told you, with a control mechanism in order to make sure that we don't have additional damages for the company. But at the end of the day, we don't want to take away any customer's money, and customer comes first and everything else comes next, especially for USA.
Well, that is absolutely great news, Horst. I really appreciate your time this evening. I know you're incredibly busy. You know, on behalf of everybody that's involved in USI, thank you for this wonderful product that you've come out with. I think the onus is on us to tidy up anything that we need to. If you know it's going on in your downline, jump all over it, because it's not right. We got a wonderful opportunity. So let's not spoil it. Let's crack on. Like I say, the events are going mad. Let's do it in a compliant, controlled manner, okay? And let's grow and help us, USI, all of us, fulfill our dreams and aspirations. Thanks again, Horst. Good night from myself, and good night from Horst Jicha. We will see you next week with another update. Thanks very much for tuning in. Good night.